Live from the CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is CBS2 News at 5 p.m.
Off to jail, former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort is ordered to prison after Robert Mueller's team told a judge he tampered with witnesses.
And he will remain in jail until his first trial set to start in July.
CBS2 political reporter Dave Bryan is here tonight with the latest chapter in this growing saga. Dave.
Yeah, not sure Manafort needed it, but this sent a strong message from the special counsel's office. We mean business. After spending several months under house arrest at his home in Virginia, Paul Manafort now has a new home in jail. And that has everyone, including the president and his lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, talking. And at least one of them was talking about a pardon for Manafort. President Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, is headed to jail while he awaits trial on multiple felony charges.
Mr. Manafort, are you going to visit Paul in prison?
Manafort had been under house arrest, indicted in special counsel Robert Mueller's ongoing Russia probe. Just last week, Mueller filed additional charges against him for witness tampering, claiming he used encrypted messaging apps and an intermediary to contact two former business associates, asking them to falsely testify.
He worked for me, for 49 days or something?
Today, a federal judge ruled Manafort abused the trust of the court and ordered him into custody. Manafort has pleaded not guilty to all the charges against him. Sources tell CBS News he's banking on a presidential pardon if he's convicted. Over the last year, special counsel Mueller has filed more than 100 charges against 19 people.
Have you talked to President Trump recently?
The next one could be Michael Cohen, the president's personal lawyer. While under investigation for, among other things, the $130,000 payment to porn star Stormy Daniels days before the 2016 election, Cohen's looking for new lawyers now. CBS News has learned Cohen believes the president and his allies, including current lawyer Rudy Giuliani, are turning against him.
He's not cooperating, nor do we care, because the president did nothing wrong. If he cooperates, there's nothing he can cooperate about with regard to President Trump.
But today, the president talked about Cohen, saying what's happening to him is wrong.
I don't think it's right that they burst into a lawyer's office on a weekend and early in the morning. I'd never heard of that before.
Democratic Congressman Stephen Cohen, no relation to Michael Cohen, believes with Manafort in prison and Cohen possibly on the ropes, Mueller has the goods.
I think Mueller has everything. And if I were Cohen, and I am Cohen, but I'm not the wicked Cohen, I'd be worried.
And now this is more. Hours after Manafort was sent to jail, Giuliani said this to the New York Daily News. When the whole thing is over, things might get cleaned up with some presidential pardons, a possible signal to Manafort not to tell the special counsel what he knows about potential collusion allegations. But there's more. A few hours later, Giuliani changed his tune. He told the Wall Street Journal that Mr. Trump would not pardon Manafort based on Giuliani's advice. The former New York mayor also told the Daily News the Manafort development all but took off the table the prospect of the president sitting down with Mueller's team for that long-awaited interview. Jeff, things are changing quickly.
Certainly are, and you're on top of it, Dave. Thank you so much. Well, Manafort and Cohen weren't the only topics the president touched on today. Minutes after giving that one-on-one interview with Fox News, President Trump held an impromptu news conference, and he did not hold back. The president praised yesterday's Justice Department watchdog report, which criticized former FBI Director James Comey's handling of the Hillary Clinton email probe.
Here's the good news. I did nothing wrong. There was no collusion. There was no obstruction. The IG report yesterday went a long way to show that. And I think that the Mueller investigation has been totally discredited.
The president also defended his praise for North Korean leader Kim Jong-un at the Singapore summit this week, telling reporters, quote, "I don't want to see a nuclear weapon destroy you and your family."
Tit for tat between the U.S. and China over tariffs soon after the U.S. announced a 25% tariff on $50 billion worth of Chinese goods. The Chinese government retaliated with 25% tariffs on $50 billion worth of U.S. goods. Well, investors on Wall Street worry about a trade war now. The Dow ended down today nearly 85 points. The Nasdaq fell 14, and the S&P 500 was down 3 points.
Blaming on the Democrats, that's what President Trump says is the reason for undocumented immigrants being separated from the children at the border. He said he hates children being taken away and that Democrats will have to change the law. The president's words may have prompted congressional leaders to push back next week and their vote on an immigration bill that would have addressed the controversy. Coming up live here at CBS2 at 5:30, a closer look at the policy that is dividing not only immigrant families, but also the country. Go to some breaking news right now. A brewing battle over coffee regulations taking a heated turn. California health officials are now proposing a regulation change that would declare coffee is in fact safe from cancer risks. The proposal goes against a recent court ruling that says coffee should carry warning labels because of a carcinogen found in every serving. The Office of the Environmental Health Hazard Assessment says there isn't enough evidence that coffee causes cancer.
Sky 2 was over a crash just over an hour ago in Northridge. A BMW and a truck rammed each other. At least 3 people were hurt and taken to the hospital. This is near Plummer Street and Encino Avenue in Northridge. The impact of the crash was so bad, in fact, the truck and its trailer ended up around the corner from each other.
A man in custody after he climbed to the roof of a building on Hollywood Boulevard just to get away from police. Police arrived at 12:15, but the man did not surrender until hours later. There he is in the picture. Officers say he was wanted for trespassing. Thankfully, no one was injured.
And crews are on the scene of a downed tree in the Shadow Hills area along Sunland Boulevard. The tall tree fell onto a detached garage. Luckily, no one was inside and no one was hurt.
However, the tree ruptured an underground gas line, also took down a power line as well. Sunland Boulevard remains open.
And turning now to our weather, the Southland cooling down after several days of hot weather.
Just in time for Father's Day. If you're going to grill outside, it's going to be beautiful. Yeah, CBS 2's Garth Kemp is here now with the forecast and as we prepare to head into Father's Day weekend. Garth?
Yeah, well, you could feel the change today a little bit, everybody, especially to the interior areas. Not quite as warm as we were yesterday. Long Beach looking good right now. Temperature-wise downtown, things are looking very nice, much better than we were yesterday. 75 degrees. There's that west wind at 7. Then we'll roll you around. Camarillo, 69 degrees. Nice up in Ventura County right now. Really is backed off from yesterday with the sea breeze. Long Beach at 74, southeast winds at around 10 miles an hour there. And then out towards Ontario, 87, much better than the upper 90s that we saw yesterday. And quickly up for Lancaster, 83, southwest winds around 30 miles an hour. A little windy up into the high deserts. We'll fill you in on the entire forecast. Talk about a chance of some drizzle coming our way. Plus another big warm up, all that in just about 12 minutes. Back to you guys.
All right, Garth, thank you. A man police say barricaded himself inside a truck near Hoover Dam is now in custody. The incident shut down traffic at the Mike O'Callahan Pat Tillman Memorial Bridge near Highway 93. Now, law enforcement from Nevada and Arizona swarmed the scene after the man stopped his armored truck and blocked lanes just before noon today. This is what the traffic backup looked like there. Witnesses told our CBS affiliate in Las Vegas there were signs with messages to the president on the windows. No one was hurt.
Quick work today by Long Beach police. They solved a reported kidnapping pretty quickly. Witnesses called police after they say a man grabbed what they thought was a teenage girl off the street and threw her into a van. Police found the van in Bellflower this afternoon. They questioned the driver and have now determined that this was a case of prostitution. Officers still haven't found the female involved. They're not sure if she was a teenager or an adult. The case has now been handed over to Vice detectives. Police say they want to thank the witnesses who reported that incident.
Police hope security camera video will help catch a driver in a van who hit a woman and kept on going. Security camera video shows the woman in the crosswalk. Other cars were waiting, but suddenly a driver in a white van mows her down. You just saw it right there and doesn't bother to stop. It happened last Thursday at Orange and McFadden in the city of Santa Ana. Witnesses tried to chase that van, but it ran through stop signs. Police say the 2017 Ford Transit van was being driven by a man with a beard and a hat.
She did look hurt. She was sitting on the curb, looked pretty distraught, saw blood on the woman's face.
Well, the woman was treated at the hospital. She was not seriously hurt. Detectives believe the van is a 2017 or 2018 Ford Transit.
A tragedy on the 405 in Seal Beach. A driver hit and killed a 39-year-old father and his 3-year-old son who had just gotten out of their stalled car. CHP says the two were standing in the southbound lanes near the Seal Beach Boulevard exit when a driver came from behind and hit them and their car. The man's wife and 10-year-old daughter inside that vehicle. They were all rushed to a hospital along with the driver who hit them.
Massive flames lit up the night sky when a carport went up in flames, threatening apartments in Hemet. Several people were hurt trying to escape those flames. CBS 2's Jasmine Veal shows us the dramatic video.
A lot of damage. You can see at least 7 residents lost their cars, but their apartment building was saved. And the scary moments as this fire was raging caught on camera.
They're evacuating, y'all. Oh my God.
As Alan Jones ran from his Hemet apartment, he recorded the wall of flames and explosions that had overtaken the carport around 1 a.m.
No.
Jones says he ran into one man who appeared to have been burned by some sort of blast during the fire.
As I'm talking to him, I noticed he ain't got no clothes on, due to the fact that it blew all his clothes off.
Firefighters had to work quickly to keep the fire from spreading.
The heat, the intensity is some of the most fire I've seen in my 26-year career.
Everything exploded, and we thought the apartments was the next thing to go.
Johnny Pine and his sister Savannah ran with others to the back fence to escape since the flames were blocking the front.
And we all had to jump that fence to exit. Kids getting thrown over, kids that we don't even know whose kids it is getting thrown to us, kids crying. Some neighbors that don't even live in these apartments gave us two ladders to climb over.
But Savannah Semperio and Jasmine Wilson had already hurt themselves from the metal spikes on top of the fence.
Cuts and bruises and stuff all over my body, whatever, but I'm alive.
Many of their cars, though, melted beyond recognition.
My wife lost her Chevrolet Malibu.
Jones lost his car and scooter, too. But he says at least he can return home. The battalion chief says that he believes the origin of this fire was in the middle of the carport here against that wall and then fanned out from there. And the cause, though, undetermined. Here in Hemet, Jasmineville, CBS 2 News.
Fiery commute, scary moments today on the 210 leading to a partial shutdown.
Plus, a pursuit ends in a crash near a local college, forcing the campus on lockdown.
And thousands of items left behind. We get an inside look at Metro's lost and found and what you need to do to get your items back.